Kendra, was it the last time you were on that Steve no-showed and you and I just hosted together?
Yeah.
I think that was.
Was that the most recent? Yeah, so we all
Yeah.
were sitting down to record the Jindas, the second Jinda episode, and we're like, "Where's Steve? Where's Steve?" And we're like texting, and finally it's just like, "Yeah, just go ahead and do it."
He had a good excuse.
He had a good
was good.
excuse.
It wasn't just he didn't show up.
No, he had a great excuse, but then he did
Yeah.
it, and then Steve listened back to the episode, and he was like, "We can't have Kendra on anymore because you guys have too good a host chemistry. It's too good."
That's what I said.
So-
I was like, nope, not allowed anymore.
bring
That's
that-
why our other podcast is just like the #1 podcast on Apple.
Oh, of course.
So
Yeah, sure, it's close. Yeah,
it's all our chemistry.
We're gonna bring that 90210 magic today.
Welcome to This Endorian Life, a Star Wars podcast from the Radio Meanwhile Network. My name is Steve Rudd.
I'm Nick Gunning, and we're following the Ewoks from Return of the Jedi to the Ewok TV movies, the 80s cartoon, and beyond.
Yes, today we're discussing Season 2, Episode 4B, A Gift for Shodu, with special guest Kendra Mikols, host of 9021. Here we go! Welcome.
Happy to be here once again.
Yeah, for sure. This is visit number 3, Kendra? Is that right?
Yes, I think this is
think
number
this is
3. I did a
three,
couple
yeah.
of Jindas episodes.
Legendas!
Yeah.
No Jindas in this episode.
No, you closed it out. That was all the Jindas that were fit to do. We did already.
Yeah.
We
Thank
do have
goodness.
the Dulocs back today. Steve, is this the
Great.
first time we've seen the Dulocs in season 2?
Yes.
Okay.
And I think we just mentioned that too,
Yeah,
right? That we're
we
like,
hadn't seen
the
them.
Dulocs are just gone, and
We
then
hadn't
now,
seen
here
them.
they are.
Yeah, they're back just in time for Kendra.
Yep.
Just
Great.
in time for Kendra to see
I was
them.
super pleased.
Yeah, real nuanced performance, I think, from all of the
I knew you
Dulocs.
missed them. Yeah. Nuanced.
All right. Today's episode was written by Paul Dini, directed by Dale Schott. It originally aired on October 4th, 1986. Steve and I were around. This predates you, Kendra.
It does.
Yes.
This entered a no Kendra world.
My husband was born, but not I.
Okay. I wonder if he was watching. I like to think so.
Maybe.
I like to think that he was. This was released
He was
on...
listening to the music at least,
Oh,
right? He
sure.
was listening-
It's
yeah.
great music. Released on VHS as part of the compilation Wicket's Adventures as he becomes a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
Now, our featured cast member today is Esther Scott. Esther Scott takes over the voice of Wicket's mother, Shodu. Though I feel like every time they say Shodu in this episode, they say it differently.
They do. They totally do. It's not just me.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, Shodu?
Yeah.
No, that's like, you just said Shodu like a little while ago.
Yeah. Well, it was like back in season 1, Kendra, there was a big villain called Morag, and she alone would call Logray La Gray. And it drove me crazy because I'm like, just tell the nice lady she's saying it wrong.
Now, does Wicket have a different voice than the last time I was here?
Yes.
His voice sounds
Yes.
very different to me.
Yes, so that's the journey we've been on. There's like a year gap between season 1 and season 2, and season 2 is like basically an all new everything. It's a new voice cast, a new theme song, a new color palette, and not for the better. Also,
Yeah.
Well,
so-
I did like the theme song more than the original theme song. I think.
I was thinking about that because the first one, I don't know. I feel like what's nice about
Doesn't
the second...
fit.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't fit.
But the second one is like they're on the moon of Endor, and
Yeah.
it actually like talks about some Ewok-y things. So I've been kind of thinking that too. So I'm glad you had the courage to say that, Kendra.
It is closer. It's true. It's just, I feel like there's too much empty space in it. There's too many like,
Yeah.
where like things are happening. It's just, we're just hearing the little thing
Yeah.
make noise. Like, it's not actually a theme song.
I
So,
always find
don't know.
Fair.
the harmony in this version, though, on the like we're having fun, is always so questionable. Did you notice that, Kendra? It's just like
I didn't know.
it's like almost that's almost harmony. I think you're just singing different notes. I don't know if that technically counts as harmony, but whatever.
Dissonance.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
it was
There you go.
dissonance,
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, Esther Scott. Esther Scott is our featured cast member today. She voices Shodu in season 2. She's many film credits, including Boys in the Hood, Goldmember, and Transformers. But, Kendra, hold your horses. because she also made several appearances in the 90210 franchise. She played the role of Connie in the season 4 finale, Mr. Walsh Goes to Washington. Do you remember that episode, Kendra?
Yes.
That's when they're in Washington and Brandon's at like a delegation with the president and the task force and all that stuff, the chancellor. She's one of the people like in the little delegation there. But that's not all, because after she did that, she went over to Melrose Place, where she recurred for 3 episodes as Nurse Mary May.
You got to do both. You got to get the 90210.
Once you
it's
got
like
one,
when you go to Disney, you get the park hopper pass.
You have to do it.
You got to do both.
Yeah.
It was Melrose Place. That was Heather Locklear, right?
Yes, Heather Locklear. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I know.
Melrose Place it's a spin-off of 90210, and Melrose Place was tanking, and they were like, how are we going to save this? Someone call Heather Locklear. So Heather Locklear, yeah, she shows up like midway through season 1 and then stays for the whole series. And yeah, it is correct that is the Heather Locklear show.
It's probably good, but she's burned in my brain in TJ Hooker.
Hooker, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, she peaked. She peaked in TJ Hooker.
TJ Hooker, yeah, you're right. Her and William Shatner both just never managed to get beyond the shadow of TJ Hooker.
and Adrian Zmed, right? I mean,
right.
Was that guy in anything ever again?
Grease 2. Adrian Zmed is in Grease
really?
2. Yeah, he's like the head of the T-Birds.
Oh, no way.
Boy, I didn't think we were going to be talking about Grease 2 today,
2.
but I'm ready.
Yeah, Grease 2. Oof.
Yeah.
See, underappreciated Grease 2.
Yeah. It has a cult following. I think it's fair to say Grease 2 has a cult following. All right, anyway. So, yes, that's Esther Scott for you. She's here as Shodu, and she gets a lot to do, which was fun. This was the most we've ever had Shodu in anything in all of the Ewoks. So, take us into the detailed plot.
Yeah, season 2, episode 4, a gift for B.
Yes.
A gift for Shodu. Teebo and Wicket fail miserably to conjure up a birthday present for Wicket's mother, Shodu. That is, until Wicket discovers a map to a lost temple that contains a hidden treasure of jewels. The group sets out immediately on their quest, despite the map warning them not to enter. Meanwhile, Gornish, the Dulak chieftain, also fails at presenting his wife with a decent anniversary present and tasks his minions to go search for one. How many years do you think they've been married?
Yeah, what is the Dulak equivalent for like a 15-year anniversary? I hope it's an emerald with a lizard in it.
A lizard emerald.
Yeah.
A lizard emerald. That's the.
Classic.
Oh yeah, yes. Yep,
You have to.
So Wicket, Teebo, Latara, and Nisa arrive at the hidden temple very easily, apparently. Entranced by the proposition of treasures, Latara blindly runs into the temple, setting off a booby trap that nearly sends the Ewoks plummeting into a lava pit, but not before Nisa saves them with her lasso, swinging them conveniently into the treasure pit full of jewels. How about that for a run-on? The moment of joy is quickly ended since the treasure pit is guarded by a large, fearsome serpent. The group retreats, setting off several more traps, but manage to narrowly escape with one gem. Hidden in a nearby bush, the Dulak search party discovers that the Ewoks possess a gem that could be given to their own queen. That night, Wicket presents his jewel to his mother, and she is overjoyed. Latara reveals to Nisa that she also managed to snag a gem. As she shows Nisa the gem, it begins to crack open like an egg, revealing a baby serpent like the one guarding the hidden temple treasure pit. Before Wicket can warn his mother, the Dulaks capture him and Shodu, bringing them before Gornish and Urga. Urga demands the jewel, and Wicket urges his mother to give it to them. She does, but also gives the Dulaks a piece of her mind. Or fists, that is. The jewel hatches in the hands of Queen Urga and promptly bites her on the nose. The Dulak commotion allows Shodu and Wicket to escape. On their way home, Wicket reveals how he got the jewel, and Shodu reminds him that her family is the only gift she needs. Wicket asks his mother to teach him the moves she used against the Dulaks, and she promises she will if he breaks the rules again. Wicket chuckles awkwardly. Roll credits.
There it is. Kendra, this is your first experience with the short 11-minute episodes. How do you feel it worked versus the full-length 22 minutes?
Yes, I had to text you and make sure that I was watching all that I needed to watch. Yes. I was like, oh, this is it? I don't know. I mean, it has its perks, I guess, because you can do these like cute little vignettes as opposed to trying to stretch a story over 30 minutes, which we've seen doesn't always work very well in the show.
Well, we were just talking last time that the episode we watched was called The Totem Master, and that was really well structured to be 11 minutes. This one, I liked it, actually, so I'll just get that right out there. I thought this was pretty decent, but I thought it did feel a little rushed, because when they get into the temple, there's all the booby traps and everything happening. I feel like that's like 30 seconds that they spend in that temple.
Yeah. Yep.
Where if this was
in and out.
Yeah, and if this was a full-length episode, you know that like the middle 7 minutes of this episode would have been them just like going through all these different things, and so I did feel there was a little bit of a time crunch here.
Mm-hmm. I thought they could have done without the Dulocs in it completely.
I agree.
Yeah.
Right? Then that would have been more time in the temple.
Yeah.
I feel like they could have done the whole family is the only treasure or present gift that she needs. It could have like really banked on that, right? And gone back to having a moral to their episode and achieved that in, the 12 or 15 minutes that the episode is.
That's true, because the Dulocs, I mean, are technically the villains of the episode, but the the villain could have just been the difficulty of getting the gem and then like figuring out what the gem is. So yeah, you're right. It's not like they brought the Dulocs back because we need a bad guy, we should use the Dulocs. It's just a totally it's just a B plot that you don't really need. Like when you're working on 11 minutes, do you need a B plot? I guess.
Yeah, you don't. Right? It's a subplot. Yeah. You don't need the subplot going.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, because it doesn't offer anything new. It's just like an extra like obstacle after the fact.
Yeah.
I need to know if you guys heard the same thing I heard. And I had my wife listen to it, and she was like, "No, you're crazy." In the beginning, when they're messing around in Logray's place, Tebow falls, and then the alligator thing falls on his head. I know that he says Kavark, but it's one syllable, and I hear an F in there, and it really sounds like there's a sneaky little F-bomb in there. Did anyone
There was too much F.
Did anybody else hear that at all?
After you said that, and then I listened to it, I was like, okay, I can see how you would think that. Okay. Yes. It's definitely hard to tell what word he's saying.
Yeah. I just think it's always two syllables. It's always Kavark, and this time it was at best Kvark, but
yes,
I didn't hear that R. And I heard a little bit of.
There was no
I heard a little bit
at
of
the end
in there. So,
well, that's not the first time we've heard an Ewok say that, right? Didn't one of them swear in Battle for Endor when they ziplined out of the castle? He was just like, he was like, "Oh, Fark," and you're like, "What?"
Yeah, what did he say?
He just totally said that. Yeah, I think he was supposed to say Kavark, but it was like
it came out weird.
It came out. Yeah, we were like, "Whoa."
You bring up Battle for Endor, which was the second movie, Kendra. You've never seen the TV movies, right?
I don't think so.
Okay. The second movie is a lot darker than the first one, and there's like witches and all these castles and everything. I kind of liked the castle in this, and the inside of it and everything was reminiscent of the castle from Battle for Endor. Did you catch that, Steve?
Yeah, it kind of was. That's really funny, actually, that you mentioned that.
There was a few things that I felt like a little bit to me felt like callbacks. One was the castle. I felt like at the very least it sort of is acknowledging that there are castles on Endor, which because we've already seen that. We saw that once in the movie and then never again until now, so that's cool. But I also thought them sliding down and then her lassoing the hook and then swinging over reminded me a lot of Luke and Leia swinging across that gap.
Right.
And, you know what I mean? So I thought there's a little bit of that in there. I also felt like there's some shades of Indiana Jones as well when they're running.
There definitely was that.
End,
I thought it was funny that when he opened the map and sometimes when you see like goofy comic maps, the buildings will appear to be tall by starting small and getting big. Mm-hmm. So that you see like the shapes of it, I guess like caricatures, kind of like a building caricature.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's funny. And then they get to the temple, and it's actually shaped like that. It's like an upside-down pyramid. And I was like, oh, what?
Yeah.
That's exactly what it's shaped like. It's not actually a caricature. It's pretty much right on.
Yeah.
I thought that was really interesting when they were like, the temple. And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
It's actually shaped, it's shaped like that.
Yeah. I liked that there was actual peril. What did you think? Did you like that, Kendra, with like the whole... Even though the castle sequence is short, it's like there's those jagged things up the center that they're dodging.
They definitely could have been sliced in half.
Yeah. We could have.
If they weren't paying attention.
You could have
stick to the sides.
But I like that there was actual peril, that it actually seemed like, ooh, this was a little bit more tense. Never a good showcase for Wicket. I think it's funny that the VHS that this was on is Wicket as he becomes a warrior, because he's such a hapless, like, Bugs Bunny wannabe in this season, and it's really like Nisa who's doing all the work.
Yeah, this was another episode like that. Yeah.
Yeah, you said that was the title, and I was like, did he do any warrior-like things?
No.
No.
No. The other little homage that I felt like, I thought the celebration that the Ewoks do at the end was very much like the celebration of Return of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that too.
It was just
the
something. The music, the structure. It just kind of seemed like, oh, okay. So in some ways, this I feel like was the most among the more Star Warsy episodes that we've had. I felt like.
I think my only complaint as far as like Star Warsiness goes is that it was like the serpent was basically just a dragon. Like didn't seem very.
It was a dragon.
It's Star Wars.
Yeah.
Do anything with this creature, but it was just basically a dragon.
Yeah,
it didn't breathe fire, I don't think, but it was just a dragon sitting on its treasure.
Yeah,
I'm like, and then anything else.
Even the color very much looked like a dragon from any show at that time.
It looked like Figment almost, right? The Disney Figment. Oh, that's purple though, right? Well, that's close.
Yeah,
close
but
enough.
the dial of it was. That's a good point. We've been talking about, even in the last episode, it opened with a little, like, I don't know, like a little mouse chipmunk thing with, like, a trumpet nose and stuff. There's always some variation on animals, but that was a very, like, paint-by-numbers 1980s kid show dragon.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
I had written dragon every time until they were like, oh, a serpent. And I was like, oh, I guess I got to go change it to serpent every time. Yeah, I was like,
dragon. You're not
really a dragon.
Yeah, why are they calling it a serpent? I don't know. I felt like there was a lot of things, though, that did make me feel like normally this just doesn't seem like an 80s cartoon to me all that often, but I felt like the action and like the cast of characters reminded me of like Alvin and the Chipmunks a little, but also of like Gummy Bears, which I think is an obvious comparison, but typically it just never gets to that level. But I felt like that's where it worked. Like the gang in peril going through that castle, I thought was, pretty fun overall.
Yeah.
Who built it? Who built the castle?
Yeah, I guess like the witches, or I don't know.
Why don't the Ewoks live there? I don't know.
Yeah, it's a big empty.
Seems like a better place.
Yeah,
who made that very conveniently placed map that they found?
Exactly.
That's true.
Why wasn't that discovered much earlier? Because I mean, it took them within a day, right? Because it was tonight is her birthday party.
Yeah.
So they got there. So it's literally a half a day's walk.
Right.
So. They keep making that mistake.
I like to think it was Wilford Brimley's character from Battle of Endor who made that map. I think we should just retroactively make that.
That's okay. Yeah,
Let's
that makes sense.
That Ewok canon. Yeah. All right. Now I'm going to fully pronounce Kavark so that there's no confusion. Kendra, if you had to choose an Kavark moment, the stupidest moment that happened in this episode, what do you think it would be?
Well, the scene I disliked the most was when they brought Wicket and his mom to the King and Queen, and then we had to listen to her talk for like 5 minutes. It was just, I hate listening to her talk.
Yeah.
So, not Wicket's mom, the Queen.
Yeah, Urga. What about
Urga?
What about you, Steve?
I can't stand Shodu's voice, the new voice.
Oh,
I just can't. It's so out of place for me, and it's so different from the way that she talked in season 1.
Yeah. I mean, we've had a problem, I think, with every adult voice on here, like Chief Chirpa and Logray. Yeah. Like, all of those have stood out as just, like, bad and wrong. And I think a lot of the reason for that is that the voices in season 1 of the Ewoks felt more naturally like kid or young voices. And so when the adults talked, it was different. Here, the Ewoks are just speaking in plain adult voices, sped up a little bit.
Yeah,
and so
I think it was noticeable this episode, too. At the very beginning when Wicket was talking, I thought, I could tell that it was a man's voice just talking and sped up. That kind of bothered me.
I actually wasn't sure what Wicket's age was supposed to be. Like, if any of them were they supposed to be children, or in season 2 were they more adult Ewoks?
No, I think it's supposed to be like teen. I think it's supposed to be like
yeah,
teen.
I think they're supposed to be like 13. Yeah, like the beginning of coming of age kind of thing.
But I think
because
that's
Wiki
really
still needs to prove himself.
I think that's really the problem, because it's been true of every adult character that it's just it's such a weird thing to have half the voices sped up and then have somebody come in and speak normally. It just
that's why it seems weird. Yeah, it's just like a normal person talking, and I'm like, whoa.
There's not even a filter on the adults to make them seem like cartoony or anything. It's just Chirpa, Logray, and Shodu are all just like, hey, I just rolled in off the street. How are you? My child's an Ewok. Hi, how are you?
Well, well, they do kind of have like Logray talks like this. So I mean, it could be an old man, but somebody at least trying to strain their voice. Chief Chirpa's like like this, but then you just have Shodu like, oh, thank you,
very
boys,
normal.
And it's just like, whoa,
yeah.
Not even like trying.
Yeah,
just that's how she talks, right?
I get that. Well, remember Aunt Bozzy in the last episode was like, somebody stole.
Oh, that's true.
Crazy.
That's true.
All right, that's
even she was like wild. Yeah. So.
Yep.
Oh, that's funny. I think they swung and missed with the voices second season, man.
Yeah,
it's really
it is still hard to adapt
tough.
to. We already kind of touched on Mayo Kavark, and it's just the Dulocs. I mean, in our conversation here, we've hardly even talked about him because it is just so superfluous to the plot, and I didn't like anything that they were in. So
the shaman's voice is totally different.
Yeah.
Like totally different.
Yeah.
They didn't even went in a completely different direction with that too.
It's weird because a lot of the production staff is the same. So you'd think that they would be like, okay, here's what we've been doing. Here's kind of what these characters sound like. You don't have to do an impression, but try to be in this. It doesn't seem like that at all. It feels like everybody who's like voice talent in this has never seen Star Wars or watched the Ewoks cartoon and are just like rolling in off the street being like, how about this? And then being like, sure, perfect. We don't have time.
They didn't want to impede their artistic, abilities.
Yep.
What about Ichiwawa moment for you, Nick? What was your Ichiwawa moment?
I think I like that Shodu actually had a role in this. Like, I know in the past we've had maybe like Chief Chirpa has gone along on a mission, but I don't really think so. So I think the fact that Shodu got pulled into it and then remained an integral part of the episode for the second half, I thought was cool. I thought it was a good use of the character and successfully sort of mixed up the regular thing of like, all right, the adults are going to stay out of this and the kids are going to go and save the village. So I liked it, and I felt like it worked to do sort of like a mother-son story. What about you, Kendra?
I would probably say I liked them getting into the castle and going down the slide and swinging around and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that's probably the scene I enjoyed the most.
Yeah, that was pretty fun.
It was the one that felt most like nostalgic for me, as like a throwback to old cartoons. I was into that as well.
Yeah.
Steve?
I liked the concept of the jewel being actually an egg.
Okay.
I thought that was really fun. That's something like, oh yeah, that could totally happen.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, that's that. I guess that kind of goes back to like the magic and mystical aspect of Endor.
Yeah.
That like, of course, they would think that it's a whole pit full of jewels, but it's a pit full of eggs.
Yeah.
What was it? Wasn't there an episode of Star Trek like that? It was The Devil in the Dark, right? It was these big orbs, and they were the eggs of the Horta. So I got that kind of. Yeah. I got that vibe from it when I was just like, oh yeah, they're not precious pearls or jewels; they're actually eggs.
Yes.
So very interesting.
I liked looking at the moral of the story, which we've touched on here. All you need is family. All you need is like the ones you love. But I thought it was kind of fun how that played out, like on both sides of it. Like the Ewoks learned that, but also like the serpent dragon, she was going after her family as well. So it was kind of like a double. They hit you double there. So I liked that.
Do you think her lost children made it back to her?
I do.
Think they returned them?
I like to think so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Did you guys also think it was adorable when Milani was like, I baked a cake?
Oh, yeah.
It was like so bad.
It was like
I thought that was perfect for the story. Yeah, like, oh, that's so cute, you know?
Yep.
So good.
Yes, I can think of some experiences in my own life similar to that. That was true to life. Have your kids ever brought you something disgusting to eat, Steve?
Not really, no.
When we were first married, Eric and I made a dish. I can't even remember what exactly it was, but it had a lot of spinach in it, and I used all the correct amounts, but it was inedible, and we still talk about how awful it was. Like, we both took bites, and I was like, this is really bad, isn't it? And he was like, yeah, and I was like, well, we're not eating this.
That's so crazy.
Really bad.
You over spinached.
I don't feel like spinach is so good. That wouldn't have,
I know, but
bizarre,
it was inedible. Wow. It was too much.
Okay.
That's great.
Well, we got to rate this puppy. How many yub nubs out of 5, Kendra? Out of 5. Keeping in mind that this show is objectively bad. So that's where that's where the scale
on the curve.
That's where the scale starts. It's important to know that.
Yeah, sure. I'm gonna go with 3.5. Can I give half points?
You can. Yeah,
here?
we'll allow it. Sure.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Cool. I don't like the Dulocks.
Yeah.
And I think they could have done more fun things in the actual castle.
Absolutely agree.
That's where I'm taking away points. But other than that, it's definitely watchable.
Yeah. I'm right with you on that. I would agree. Without the Dulocks, I think I would have been comfortable saying 4. With the Dulocks, I'm going to say 3.5. What about you, Steve?
You're not going to believe this, but I also am a 3.5.
Whoa.
And because I know, right? Because the same thing, the Dulocks, that was the wrong episode to bring him back because they were just extra, and it was kind of like, oh, the Dulocks, and then they just didn't do anything. I thought, oh, shouldn't they have stolen the jewel before they got? And they were like, oh, we got themselves with our own net, and it's like you can still see them walking.
Yeah,
I thought the same thing. I was like, just run after them. I don't know.
Yeah. Yep.
So they didn't even need the map to get to the temple. I thought that was a little unfair, right?
Oh, yeah,
Secret treasure map. So
just go there anyway, you dumb Duloc.
They just went there. I was just like, oh, of course.
Yeah, when they first, like, the first shot of the Dulocs, I was like, oh, okay, interesting. The Dulocs are back. But I was expecting them to be the villains of the show. Just like a thorn in my side. Not even the Ewok side, just a thorn in my side.
Yeah. Urga was great, though. I mean, she's just unbearable. So that was perfect. You know, and I don't know. I guess that's voiced by a new person. And
I think so. I think it was.
She just did equally as well.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Yeah.
We've been on a decent streak, Kendra. We've been on a decent streak where we're like, yeah, okay, it's good. So,
all right.
We're hoping we can write it out. Next time, back here on Endor, we're going to be talking about Season 2, Episode 5, Night of the Stranger. This is one of 4 episodes in this season that are full length.
All right.
And
let's go.
I think it's going to be a little bit more serious. I don't think anybody's buying presents for their moms in that episode. We'll see.
Night of the Stranger.
What if that one started and like half the Ewoks are just killed?
That would be serious.
There's been a culling.
That would be the Ewoks of the corn come out, and that's it. It's over.
Jeez, he's so bad.
Yeah.
Oh man, just like they're just new Ewoks that we've never seen before, just dead everywhere.
Yep. Yeah. It's just, wow. Wow. You guys, we have a crossover coming up between this Endorian Life and 902 and Here We Go, because it's almost Shark Week.
Oh,
Shark Week.
It?
Yeah.
Shark Week again.
Yeah, so we gotta do Shark
again.
We gotta do Sharknado 2. As long as they make those
well,
movies.
my husband just said, isn't it Shark Week? And I was like, how is it Shark Week already?
Yeah.
No, right?
That's how it goes.
Oh my gosh.
That's how it goes. Yeah, it's July 24th of 2022 is the kickoff to Shark Week. So pop over to the 90210 feed that week to hear us talking about Sharknado 2. Kendra, what other podcasts are you on?
Sharknado 3, right? Didn't we do 2?
No, we did one.
We did one,
We've done one?
Yeah.
Oh, man. All right. I thought we were on the 3rd one.
No.
Feels like third one is when the Hoff comes in.
Oh, that's fun.
Oh, my goodness.
That's fun.
Yeah.
Right. Cool.
Kendra, you got to tell us what other podcast you're on, though.
Well, I'm on 902 and Here We Go.
Woo!
with you,
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Yeah.
I never call you Nicholas.
I know. It was weird. Yeah.
Oh, Nicholas.
And we're making our way through season 6 right now. It's good time.
Yeah.
I am also co-host of the podcast 90s Music Got Me Like, where each week we talk about a different 90s song. Most recently, we will have either talked about Mr. Jones by Counting Crows or Angels by Robbie Williams.
Those are good ones. Yeah. That's a good one.
Yeah.
All right.
Oh, man.
Love it.
All right. So we'll be back here next week for Night of the Stranger, and then over on 902 and Here We Go in the coming weeks to talk about Sharknado 2. Kendra, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Good
Thank
to see
you,
you,
Kendra.
Steve.
It's always
Next
a pleasure. You too. This Endorian Life is brought to you by the Radio Meanwhile Network. Other shows on the network include 90s Music Got Me Like, previously on X-Men, and 9021 Here We Go. Share your thoughts on this and upcoming episodes by following us on Facebook or Twitter @Endorian Life, and please rate, subscribe, and share the show wherever you get your podcasts.